Hello and welcome to the bonus lesson to advertise journaling Crazy Island Style 2016. This is the bonus lesson that I did recently for the theme Nature Inspired, and I used a warm sienna, a burnt umber and a yellow ochre here, and I used an offcut of some larger pages that I've got that I didn't need for a project, and I blended those three colours together onto my card, you know, like an old credit card or a rewards card. And then I just decided to use them to scrape a background pattern into my page. Now I'm using heavy 300 GSM watercolor paper here. It's more of a rough, not a smooth watercolor paper, and so it has this beautiful natural grain in the paper, which I really wanted to have here because I am going to do some trees, and I'm showing you a technique that will allow you to have a lot of fun with this process. And I really enjoyed it, and sometimes our journal play, and for me this is kind of more like journal play, right? Incorporating some beautiful warm nature colours doesn't have to take a really long time. In fact, I haven't sped this lesson up at all. I've left it there completely as it is, so that you can just walk with me through the lesson. Now, I always intended that I would voice over this particular lesson, because in my bonus lessons I don't do a full lesson, I do a voiceover lesson, or I set the lesson to music and do PDFs, because it's more of a quick exercise in learning something a little bit different, or just having an insight into how another one of your teachers on the course has interpreted the prompt. And often with these sorts of prompts, when I'm not teaching, I do a lot of art journal play to just experiment with different techniques and different color blendings. And look, some of them end up in my finished pages that you see each week, and some don't. So I've just decided here to put a little bit more of that ochre on at the bottom and throughout the pages, and I've left a little bit of the white there. So I'm now using a black, and again I'm going to use my card. Now, some of you will have seen this technique maybe on Pinterest, or maybe you've seen it already on a YouTube video, but I'm essentially just going to show you how to do trees with a credit card without having to use your brush. You can't get this effect with a brush. And you get these beautiful straight lines with a credit card. And because of the grain of the paper, we're able to get different kinds of flecks inside and out. And I'm just going to repeat this process. And I've decided I'm going to have one of my trunks leaning, and your card is really good for figuring that one out. And I like the way that we can just play, and this is all really quick. If you think about it, this has all happened in, you know, less than 4 minutes so far, and we're already getting to the point where we can start seeing a fully fledged journal page start to appear. Now, this is not necessarily a normal way that I work, and like I said, I'm really varied in my methods and the different techniques that I use, because I think in mixed media it's really good to have a good sense of variety, and we're almost forced to have that sense of variety because we use so many different mediums. And when you use different mediums, you need to explore exactly what those mediums can actually do. And in the process of exploring what your mediums will do and the properties that they've got, we also then need to explore then what they work well with. Now, I highly recommend our reference journal course where we show you a whole bunch of tests to test all your products. So in this case, we have a look and see how the paint's working with the credit card, and it's working very well on this particular type of paper. And I've decided that I'm going to make all of my trunks go to the top because I'm not going to show any leaves here, or the leaves are rather implied with the shades of the background. And I'm just going to have a whole scape of tree trunks as if I'm kind of lying down on my back and not looking up so much, but looking outward and upward. And this is in a dark forest, and you can see some little bits of light peeking through. So in the technique, don't be afraid to turn your page around. I'm right-handed, and I find that it just works better for me if I continue in that vein, and I'm very right side dominant. And I've decided to do the edge of one here and darken those edges there, just to have like, yeah, the edge of another trunk there, because I want to use up all my paint. And I'm doing the same down the side. Where I'm just putting the hint. And I like that, right? It's really cool. I'm just completely in love with this page. You know, it's interesting when you have colours, what colours you're drawn to. And often this year I'm drawn to purples and teals and magentas, and that has been a constant theme through a lot of my work. But when I go warm colours, I go really earthy. I really like my earthy colours. So if I'm going to go reds and browns, I'll go really earthy, and I'll have lots and lots of fun. So now I'm using an unbleached titanium, and I'm going to use, I've started using a catalyst tool, but I'm looking for one that's a little bit smaller because that one's too wide for my trunks. And what I'm wanting to do is to add some more light parts into it. And so I've gone for more of a clay molding tool now, but I'm going to use it with paint. And it works just as well as the catalyst tool. It's like a mini catalyst tool. You can see those marks that I'm using. And I think sometimes it's really, really cool to have a look and see what works the best for you, and have a look at the tools that you're using around your home or that you have for other art projects that might work really well. And I'm just going to speed this process up now because it's like lots of fun, and it's just the same thing. You'll see me adding the highlights and lowlights with this little tool over all of the trunks. So what you can see here is that I then decided that in the spaces in between the trunks, just to make those trunks stand out a little bit more, because you really need to make them stand out from the background, is that I would get my white Sharpie marker and start putting some of my unconscious thoughts that came into my head while I was doing this page. Because this page is very much an example of intuitive painting, where I basically just put slap colour on the page and then it develops as I decide where I'm going with the next step. This page was not a planned page, and as I decided, I thought, a white marker would really stand out here and would be easy to see. Now, I sat there and had my random thoughts about what nature meant to me, what is beauty, who created me. These were all the random thoughts that popped into my head as I was scraping paint onto those pages and sitting there doing the trunks and putting the details in. And you can see my page is already finished. How quick and easy was that? Enjoy Journaling Crazy Island Style 2016. And stay tuned now for some of my thoughts on Journaling Crazy Island Style.